What's going on, guys? Hope you guys had a happy Thanksgiving. Today's Sunday, so it's been a few days. Haven't done much, don't have to work today, so just kind of been laying around. The other day, I crawled up and under the car. Nothing's been going wrong with the car, but I just kind of, since I bought it, I haven't looked underneath. When we bought it, we got down on the ground to see if there's any rust underneath there, but I've been watching some more videos pretty much all day about drifting and people's drift builds and things that, people, starting to get into drifting, just their experience and what they did to their cars. Now, most people, logically don't start, their first drift car with an LS in it, but fuck it, why not? And then there's not a lot of people really drifting. There's people drifting 300ZXs, but they're the second generation. But separately from that, I thought that I had, a perfectly good helmet because I ride motorcycles and I don't have a motorcycle right now, actually, because I just sold my last one to Austin, which is the one he has now. If you all don't know, just a DOT rating on a helmet to drift is not okay, apparently, from what I've read. If you're going to do like drift events and whatnot, it does matter and they will check if you're trying to do an actual event. So that's something that I just found out. So looks like I have to buy a new helmet, which adds to the list of things that I have to do to this car. Also, you can tell how cheap I am because I bought a triangle helmet. And for those of you that don't know, this is $50 on Amazon. Now, don't get me wrong. It has served me well and it's very comfortable, and I've used Bell helmets that were made cheaper than this. So that really means that I probably need to invest some money into a helmet. Regardless, I thought I was gonna be able to save, 100, 150 bucks, but oh well, I intend on going full force into this, so might as well go ahead and shell out the money and get a good helmet. Besides that, let's get back to what we have to do to the car. All right, so we're in the car. I know it looks like I'm about to go rob a bank, but I'm repping TTU because it doesn't get you a job to get a degree. So besides that, we're going to, oh great, I love how much this son of a bitch shakes. But we're gonna go to a parking lot somewhere and kind of look under the hood because I don't like being at my apartment complex and filming my car because I don't like my neighbors to know anything about me. So we're gonna go drive somewhere and pop the hood and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, we're out here in a random parking lot at this church school, and it's kind of very cold, so I'm gonna try to talk about this quickly. So I'm gonna talk about the power steering pump, where it needs to go on this engine, and kind of, ask myself why it's not done the right way. But right here is the alternator, and for this engine, this alternator should be about right here, and then right below it is it should be right here, right below it would be a power steering reservoir / pump. But right as it sits now, the power steering pump is right here. If you can see it right there, here's the front of the car, it's just right there. So we look at the OEM engine on this car, and that's where it's supposed to be. But this being an engine swap, it has to be retrofitted onto this engine. Now, why would the previous owner do that is what I've been asking myself, and Austin has been asking himself. Well, I've come to the conclusion that with the normal LS setup on this car, this being an LS6 intake, and this sway bar right here, there's no clearance above this. So this alternator is gonna sit right above here. So I think it was a clearance issue, but I don't think that's a good enough reason to not have power steering. So, I can get a cowl hood and just, it'll make it look a little bit more aggressive, or just go no hood and say, fuck it. So the bracket for this is about $10, and then to move the alternator. And another thing is they retrofitted this right here. You can't tell it, but it's hot, ow. This is a 12 or 14 millimeter socket right there, just holding the alternator in that place right there. There's some rice things on here, but it's gonna be a drift car, so it's gonna be riced out anyway. So I just kind of wanted to talk about, where it should be, and kind of contemplating why it's not there right now. But also, there, you know, I had mentioned it and I showed it in the snapshot, this fuel pump right here in the most sketchy place ever is a questionable choice, but this is gonna have to be moved. As I mentioned before, the coil packs, if you can see them right here, there, I don't quite understand why they are right there on the side, but you know, some people want to see the engine, so that would make sense to why they put them over there. But usually they clean them up and put them on a nice rail and what have you. So, you know, I don't really care how this car looks, so it doesn't really matter. Now, besides those things, these lights, I'm okay with these lights, but you know, I kind of like the look of the car with the lights down, and a lot of people that drift, they put a lot of LED lights on the front. So I intend on either putting LED lights right here, or just, you know, taking the motors completely out right here and just not having these come up at all, and just have some bright LEDs right here. And maybe in the front lip down here, there's going to be an LED strip. So that being said, the front bumper as well, I don't know if I will have a bash bar right there and have it underneath the bumper itself, and just kind of have it to where I can put the bumper on after I get done drifting and just have a bash bar, or just take the bumper off completely and do a front bash bar, you know, and make it look at least a little nice. Same with the rear. I've seen some pictures. I don't like this rear bumper at all, so I may just replace it completely with a bash bar. Other than that, the roll cage is going to have to be the next option. Obviously no roll cage, and stripping the inside out. You know, all the full interior's there, but that's kind of the last thing that we're looking to do, is to strip it down. Yeah, it's getting a little too cold for me to stand outside and talk about the car and things on the outside. Other than that, I just wanted to kind of mention the power steering situation and what we're working on right now. You know, just got to get another paycheck. Gonna get that bracket. Going to get some stainless steel lines made in Cookeville. Austin knows a place where I can get stainless steel lines made. Other than that, you know, there's a lot of things that I have to do, and I actually had a list of them, and I mentioned in the last video, you know, I kind of went through it, but the most important thing that I have to do right now is get a starter, a power steering pump, and like I said, a new bracket and coilovers. What I haven't mentioned in this car is that the suspension is garbage. I guess, you know, the previous owner didn't take into consideration that a iron block LS would be a little heavier than the normal engine that comes in this car. So every time I take a turn, or, you know, I'm going down the highway and hit too big of a bump, it'll just bottom out. So I hate that. I don't know if I said that before, but fuel pump has to be moved. So I have a list of things right here that, you know, that I need to do. But other than those things, you know, this thing's gonna get on the track soon. Now, the most important thing for the next video that I have is a good friend of mine from when I was a kid that I haven't seen in a few years, and he works as a welder in Chattanooga. His dad's a welder, and, you know, he's been welding pretty much his whole life. So you know, I messaged him on Snapchat, and I was like, hey man, I need a crash course in metal fab and welding. And you know, yeah, he was cool. You know, I haven't seen him in a few years, and I'd like to hang out with him, and it's the holiday season, so he's gonna be in town. So yeah, we're gonna get a roll cage in this. I'm gonna do a video on you know, pretty much a tutorial on metal fab and welding. I don't know if we're going to put the bash bars on and the roll cage, or if we're just gonna do a roll cage, whatever. But I'm gonna kind of do a tutorial on welding, probably just stick welding, maybe TIG welding, and yeah, some metal fab to get this roll cage in. But the first thing that we have to do is strip this car down. I said that it's the last thing, but I'm not worried about that as much as I am worried about getting power steering in this car, because it's kind of a big deal for me. I have to get the e-brake set up, because this e-brake is garbage, get polyurethane bushings. So yeah, I just kind of want to give an update on me looking under the car, looking into things that I'm gonna have to do and how I'm gonna have to go about doing them. But the next video is gonna be probably the metal fab video here in a week or two. It might be the next video, or the second to next video. But yeah, if you guys are interested in metal fabrication and welding, learning more about it, and making a roll cage for your 300ZX, then yeah, stay tuned, guys, and thanks for watching. Catch you next time. All right, guys, as you can see, I'm underneath here. Right here is where the fluid buildup was on the bottom of the transmission. Right here, this is what I was talking about, and there was just a droplet sitting there, and so I assume he just didn't tighten this bolt enough, but hopefully we'll see. But you can see there's kind of just fluid all the way into there. Right here is where the starter is. I don't know if you can see very well.
Smells sober. I'll fix that.